This episode is sponsored by Kimmel Corporation. Operating in Northwest Ohio for 4 generations, they are a proud producer of uniform rentals, mat services, linen rentals, and more. Give them a call at 1-800-334-4975. Hey, I'm Hannah.
And I'm Amanda. And this is a podcast where we talk Wyandot business and the people who help run them.
What's up, Wyandot? Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Up, Wyandot. Amanda, who's here with us?
So today we have Kimmel Corporation and Kimmel Apparel. We've got Brian Kimmel and Sarah Shutt with us today. So if you want to say hello.
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 How are you guys doing today?
Oh, fantastic.
Enjoying that lovely weather.
Yes. Fighting snowdrifts to get here today.
Yeah. Well, you guys have a giant one in front of your building today.
Yeah, that got moved first thing, thank goodness.
Yeah. Sarah made a phone call to the city. She must know the mayor and got it taken care of.
Yeah, I heard because that's like the only one that's gone so far. Because we still have this giant one out here.
That's
like,
right.
She knows somebody. Like, get this gone before we
That's right.
do our opening. So you know. All right, well, we'll just jump in. So first off, so Kimmel Corporation, it's been around for how many years?
Couple.
Couple.
Yeah, it was actually started by my great-grandfather 90 years ago, 1931. So this is our 90th anniversary this coming year. So
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. We're pretty excited about that. Those things kind of just, I feel like I need to look at the camera.
Nope, you're good.
Those
You don't
things
make eye contact.
kind of just creep up on you as you're moving along. So, but yeah, it's funny. It was started actually in Marion, Ohio, and then was
And that's when
moved-
you were Kimmel Cleaners, right?
that was when it was, gosh, I don't remember what it was called to be honest. And then when it was changed to Kimmel Corporation or Kimmel Cleaners, correct? In 1931 when they moved to Upper Sandusky.
Okay.
So back then it was purely just family laundry. So people didn't have washers and dryers. So if you needed something laundered and it's something that you could utilize the service instead of a washboard at your house, they did it for you with their washboards. But they also did have machinery to do that. So the history on that I'm not as familiar with, considering it was so long ago. But the building is still the original building that was built at that time. It's been added onto, I think, four times since then. You know, it went from my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and my father and my uncle are current day operators, day to day, and then my brother and I are directly involved with the company now. So that's the 4 pieces to the pie so far. We both have children, so we'll see if they want to, wash some shirts and pants when they get older. We'll find out.
Yeah. So then, so what is your role there? Do you have a title? Are you an everything person?
That's a good question. I do have a title on my card. I believe it's Strategic Growth Manager. So in general, I do work with the rental end of customers. So when I say rental, all our trucks that run around out there, contrary to belief, they're not full of dry cleaning. They're actually full of rental garments, mats, towels, things like that to support the industries that we service.
Okay.
We cover roughly 40% of the state doing those types of services. And that's kind of the role I'm in on that end. And then we have the apparel, which is a growing end of the business for us that Sarah is now on board with. And the apparel is just anything a company buys that has their name on it.
Mm-hmm.
T-shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, you name it.
Yeah. So have you always been a part of Kimmel Corporation, or when did you come aboard?
I feel like this is a lot about me here.
I mean, hey.
So, yeah, I've technically, I guess, when I was in high school, in the summers, I was over there, learned about every job in the plant, from counting the soil to hanging shirts to running washers and dryers. And then through college, I came back for the summers. And then, at that time, my grandfather was here until my freshman year in high school, and then he passed away, and then my father and my uncle were operating the business. And then after school I came back. I lived in South Carolina for a few years working down there, and I came back and actually moved into my grandfather's old office, which, funny as it seems, is a house.
Okay.
And it used to be my mom and dad's bedroom. So my office was in my grandfather's office, which was my parents' bedroom when I was there when I was a baby.
Wow.
So things evolved over time. You didn't
Yeah,
know that,
they
did you,
did.
Sarah?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so things have evolved a lot since the house. So I'm no longer in the house. I'm now in a basement, which is a big upgrade. I know it doesn't sound like that. But we've done a lot of work, and we've built offices in the basement of a nearby building. And now we have our whole service staff down there with our sales staff, with actual offices that didn't have beds in them before. As you mentioned, As you mentioned before, there were no windows, so we had to have windows put in because I get kind of claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And
Especially, I feel like you're lost from the world outside. You're kind of.
You are.
You don't know what the weather's like. You don't know if it's sunny. You can go out there and it's storming outside.
I wear the same thing to work every day. It's a long sleeve shirt, and then maybe a zip up, and that way I walk outside. It's raining, it's snowing. That's fine because we don't really know.
Yeah.
We're cut off from the world above us. So.
Now the building that's, I don't want to say next to Kimmel Corp because it's all one. You guys just did that not even like a few years ago.
Yeah, it's coming up on 2 years. We added on, about doubled our square footage of our processing plant. So our processing plant is where we launder and do all the processing for our linens, our towels, our uniforms, some various other products that are there. The addition really is more for storage of our uniforms. We've seen a lot of growth in the last 10 years, and we were shuttling uniforms into garages, kind of on the city block that we're on, just finding anywhere we could put them to, make the deliveries. I mean, we're gonna have to start putting them in my grandmother's house if we did make an addition. So we did get that finished, and it's pretty neat.
Awesome. Okay, so jumping into services.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people think that you are just dry cleaning services or rental, but you guys are actually more than that. So do you want to kind of get into, like, I don't want to say the bathroom necessities that you guys do, but...
Yeah, there's nothing I'd like to talk about more than toilet paper and hand towels.
Right.
But,
hey, it's always going to be needed.
especially lately.
Yeah, it was hard for us. We got the machine in our bathroom, and it was hard to get the...
Yeah, the paper.
Yeah.
I know.
I was like, oh yes, it's nerve-wracking.
So we have literally pallets and pallets of toilet paper, and people are going to the grocery store and hoarding, the single roll toilet paper, and it's, I guess, when doomsday comes, we're set and ready to go.
Yeah.
So as long as we don't sell it over market price and get in trouble for that, we'll be okay.
Yeah. And you guys, I mean, how far do you guys go of servicing people?
So our territory runs roughly from Maumee down to Dayton, then south of Columbus, run up by Newark, and straight up north, Elyria, that area, and across the lake. So it's about 40% of Ohio. It's big. I'll say that. We'd like to fill it in as much as we can. But a lot of that growth is purely due to our customers. As they grow, we've been able to grow with them, which has stretched our territory out a little bit. So we're grateful for that, but it's always our goal to fill the gaps as much as possible and make it as efficient as we can when we're out there on the road.
Yeah. Now that you continue to grow, obviously unemployment, is that something that you guys are doing well with, continuing to, as you grow, to find employees to...
That's a good question. We've been fairly lucky. I think we do a good job with the folks that we do have. Without the dedicated employees in our facility working day in and day out, we are not able to do what we do. I guess my father always told me we don't produce anything, we don't make anything like in-house. So as a service organization, you better be really good at it.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you have to have people that are dedicated to what they do, be servicing your customer is all we can do.
Yeah, I've heard that thing when people say like they don't buy the product, they buy from the person.
Right.
So it's like if you're not good at being a people person or selling it, they're not going to buy it from you, and they can go down the road and make a relationship. So
Yeah. No, but as far as employment goes, I think we've been lucky.
yeah.
We actually moved to a 4-day work week in our processing plant, which I think everybody has grown to really like.
Yeah.
It's a 3-day weekend, so
right.
more
Or
time
like
for
the
family
families
and to do more projects and stuff on the weekends. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
Okay.
But you asked about the services.
Yeah.
So we do dry cleaning,
Mhm.
but dry cleaning is a small part of what we do. As you mentioned, some people still view us as Kimmel cleaners,
Yeah.
which is popular out there. But we changed the Kimmel Corporation a number of years back, and I think a lot of that was to market ourselves a little differently. But other than the rental of the uniforms and the mats and the linens, those are our 3 big areas that we do a lot with our manufacturing companies, our restaurants, car dealerships, various types of industry out there. We also do the restroom products, so hand towels, toilet paper, soap, sanitizers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, sanitizer.
Sanitizers. Oh my gosh.
That's been a hot ticket. I
Yeah. So we couldn't get sanitizer for, I want to say, 3 months.
Wow. So
Let
you
me
couldn't
take that
really
back.
like service
Well,
that.
let me
you
take that
couldn't
back.
get it.
We could get the sanitizer at first because they didn't have the raw products to make it. So then all these distilleries that switched over to making the ingredients that go in the ethanol that goes into the actual sanitizer, because they weren't selling enough booze, or maybe
Yeah,
they
we
just had.
Got a bottle like that. A guy
Yeah.
brought it in and
Yeah.
it looked like a vodka bottle, and it
Yeah.
was.
How'd it smell?
I have not opened
Not
mine.
great.
I think I
Not great.
might keep this for
Don't want to
like
drink it.
a few years now, but it ended up being sanitizer. I'm like, one, that's dangerous, but two, there was a lot. Of
Yeah, I mean, you
distillers
feel
doing
like
that.
you could light that on fire and it's gonna.
It's gonna kill the germs.
Oh yeah, it'll blow up. Yeah, it smells pretty strong. But yeah, so for a while we couldn't get that in, and then once they got that done, then they couldn't get the actual. They go in like pouches, a plastic bag. That goes in the dispensers. You couldn't get those in. So then they had the product and couldn't get that part of it in, and I think that part of it comes from overseas. I'm not real sure. Then we couldn't get dispensers in. So it was a worldwide shortage on sanitizer and sanitizer accessories, which is you wouldn't think would ever happen, but it's a global pandemic, and let's face it, we live in a world today that everything's made all over the place. So it's a international business atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you never ran out of toilet paper, did you?
No, we have plenty of toilet paper.
Good.
All of our customers were very happy with that.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Seriously, because that's what I was nervous about here. Because I'm like, at one point, like we weren't the people that panic and like stocked up. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that's when Greg's like, listen, we've got plenty. Like, don't worry. Because I'm like, I think we were down to like 2, and I'm like, there's literally none at any store.
Well, you can use other things than toilet paper.
Nobody wants to do that
I'm
though.
just saying, like, what if you run out of beer? You can't get more beer.
I know.
What if you run out of milk?
Okay, between beer and toilet paper, one of those is
Has
a
to
bit
be-
more necessary.
I know, the beer.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's definitely. It's kind of nice that it's coming back and
Yes.
on the shelves and all that. So, okay, going into that, obviously we have Sarah here. So you guys now, but you've always had Kimmel Apparel, so you've
Mhm.
always had apparel, but now you have your own actual building for the apparel.
Right.
So that's where Sarah comes in. So you were Kurt's.
Right. I ran
Okay.
Kurt's Family Store in
Yes.
Cary. So I ran Kurt's Family Store for the last 3 years after my Aunt Lois passed away.
Okay.
And we basically did area schools, school apparel, uniforms for a bunch of the sports teams in the area, all the fan wear. And then I also worked with a lot of businesses in the area doing basically the same thing Kimmel's was doing, as far as
So you
direct
guys were
sales.
competitors.
To an extent, we didn't really, yeah,
Compete, but
yeah,
Yeah, we didn't really focus on the school aspect
Right.
of it though, because quite honestly, we weren't good at it.
okay.
We just didn't have the flexibility and expertise like Sarah does.
Where you guys are more strict with
We were more
company,
business
like formal
business
wear,
focused. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uniforms.
So, and I did some of that with some small area businesses, and so on. So, yeah, I basically, when my Aunt Lois passed away, I moved back up here from North Carolina and took over the family business. And then Kimmel's approached me, and we partnered up.
The rest is history.
The
The rest is history. Here we are today.
But no, yeah, they offered to buy my business and employ me because they were interested in opening and having a apparel store. And wanted to have, other than the dry cleaning entrance, that was kind of your only storefront
Right.
at the time. So it kind of was a good opportunity to have a more, what's the word I'm
Almost
looking
like
for?
a face-to-face.
More,
Yeah, more of a
Yeah,
face-to-face.
because you can't. I don't want to say like that's the only way, but a lot of it is calling or emailing and things
Right.
like that. Where now you can
People
walk in
can
and
just
sit
walk
down with
in.
you and be like, "This is
Yeah,
what I'm looking at."
and that's
yeah.
been happening since we opened the store about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
We're having businesses, a few new businesses here and there, but people are able to come in and, say, well, I also have this business I'd like to get stuff for, and we'd be glad, we'd be happy to help you out with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the curb appeal is
it looks so nice.
thank you, because it didn't look
Looks-
very nice before.
Yeah,
But the curb appeal does do more than I think we understand sometimes. Not everybody's going in the store, but just to know it's there, and then they make a phone call. It's when you Google something and you look for Kimmel Apparel, and then you see a dry cleaning and rental company, you don't think that's where I want to get my shirts at the company.
Right.
I don't want to buy my shirts from that type of company, so I might not make a phone call. So this is going to help that tremendously from a business standpoint, but from the team apparel standpoint, I mean, there's tons of great stuff that we have in there.
and you do obviously do custom, but what all schools do you have in there right now?
So right now we're doing, it's mostly the Wyandot County area, so Upper Sandusky, Cary, Mohawk, Riverdale, Winford, OLC, St. Peters.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I missing?
It's all 7 of them.
It's all 7 of them.
You got a few of them outside of Wyandot County.
Yeah,
that you
we
would
do a
work
few
with.
outside. We have some Arcadia stuff, some Van Loo stuff.
But anybody outside of like if they need anything, say they're from a school in like Marion, Mansfield, you can do pretty much anything like that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yep, we can still help them out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which today they had their ribbon cutting and it was a really good turnout and we got to see the inside and it definitely, I was in it probably right before COVID hit, almost a year ago, and
That's
definitely
true.
did not look the same.
That's true. It was bare floors. And
Bare floors and it was,
I think the walls might have been stripped down.
yeah, there was no walls, it was like pure floor all the way back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was definitely not, it was clean and nice. But also, just having a business there is huge. I mean, that's a giant building.
It is.
And it's been empty for, what, like 2 years now? Almost 3?
Yeah, it's going on 2 years.
And that's a big building to have empty when you're driving by. So I
Right.
think it looks even nice just having that filled with something.
Yeah.
Adds to the downtown.
Well, and I think that's part of giving back to the community in a way too. I mean, yes, we put a store there and we want to do it, for business purposes, but at the same time, we believe it's a contribution to downtown, and we want it to be a resource and something, people can talk about. And hey, in Wyandot County, Upper Sandusky, they have this great store there that you can go shop for a variety of items. And we do have some other ideas for the future for the front of the store that, once we really get things smoothed out and get an understanding of how this is working, we may add to, as far as different types of apparel for the everyday working person. I
Yeah.
won't release too much more than that, but it's stuff that we're very familiar with. So, we're always trying to figure out, the best way to provide, for the need of the local area or businesses.
Yeah. And it's kind of nice that you guys have go any from t-shirts up to jackets, because I mean we we've ordered embroidered stuff from Kimmel's, and I think we've got our jackets, and then we go down to polos, and then we just got these pullovers that are like super soft on the inside. So it's one of those for work, we have different kind of events for different kind of clothing. We've been able to find anything that you guys have there. And it's a quick turnaround. I mean, even with COVID, I understand like it's hard. Some of the shirts and outfits are hard to still get in, but...
Yeah, COVID's been a challenge, to say the least. When your
Yes.
fabric comes from Pakistan and gets shipped to Mexico, and then they ship it to the U.S., and then it's manufactured and shipped back. I mean, it's a confusing circle of a fabric, but at the end of the day, it's something that we try our hardest to, be upfront with people. If there's a back order, we let them know and try to turn around as fast as we can.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, well, we are going to take a quick break, have a word from our sponsors, and we will be right back. This episode is sponsored by Kimmel Corporation. Operating in Northwest Ohio for 4 generations, they are a proud producer of uniform rentals, mat services, linen rentals, and more. Give them a call at 1-800-334-4975.
All right, we are back. So now we're going to get into more of the juicier questions.
Can't wait.
One, obviously, you are in a basement, like you said. You're also trapped down there with your brother, which I have 2 brothers, and I would not be able to work with them a day. So how is it working, not only with your brother, but, you work with your dad and your uncle.
Right?
So...
And another uncle.
Yeah. So do things get
Fun?
hard to separate from business? Is it fun most days?
Is there any drama?
Yes.
Never any drama. Never.
Never.
No. I will say most days it goes well. There are some days that I would like to go home and have an adult beverage.
Just get in the van and leave and take a drive.
Sometimes by noon. But typically I make it through the day. It is kind of unique that I had a bedroom next to my brother, and now we have offices right next to each other. Like literally have a wall separating us, just like our house
Yeah.
that we grew up in. So for the most part, he's a very strategically minded person, more analytical, I guess, than you would say that I am. I'm a little more, I don't know how to say it, just open, conversative, less strategic.
Yeah.
I'm
He likes the facts.
Yeah, he's a factual guy. I kind of just tell you what I think and roll from there, So I don't put, as much, thought into some of those things, whether that's good or bad. I know there's been situations that didn't work out for me well, and others, I think I did all right.
That's a nice balance then.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it
It's
works
nice
well
balance.
for us because we do have different characteristics, and we typically, we worked hand in hand because a lot of times through the years, I was responsible for bringing, new customers on board. So when we get a new customer, let's say it's, 100 guys you got to put in uniform and figure out how to service them. So he's in charge of the service department. So then he is like, okay, Brian, here's what you told the customer. Here's, I'm like, okay, here's what we need to do. And there's sometimes I tell him what we need to do, and he's like, well, how are we supposed to do that? Well, I don't know. You're the service department. Can't you figure that out? We're good at this, right? And he will give me a look like, well, yeah, I would appreciate some forewarning. I'm like, well, I just gave it to you. Sometimes that's fun.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we I think we do work well as a team because we do work off each other and kind of hand off from a customer standpoint, to the service team. And he heads up the service team, and he does a very good job in keeping people happy.
Yeah. So, talking about the basement even further.
Yeah.
So, there's rumors that are you guys currently chipping and tracking people?
We're chipping people, not technically,
Not
but
the people
not the
I was
themselves.
gonna say you're not chipping people.
So
That's how rumors get
as long as
started.
people put on our uniforms, they are technically wearing a chipped garment. But So the technology behind it is.
Everyone's now listening to this, like, going to their
Yes.
Kimmel Apparel and...
Yeah. Please do not.
Don't rip them
Do
out.
not do anything to that chip. We've spent a whole lot of time and money sewing them in thousands and thousands and thousands of garments. So the chip is literally, it's a strip that's not even an inch long that is put and sewed in each shirt, each pant. And what that does is it gives us the ability to track when a garment comes into our facility and make sure that it's checked out and returned to our customer. So
Okay.
a big thing in our industry is I'll meet with a prospective customer and they're like, my current company, hey, I turn in 5 shirts and 5 pants, I get 3 shirts and 4 pants back. How does that happen, Brian? It's like, well, our process is pretty simple. We wash shirts and pants and we bring them back to you. At the end of the day, it shouldn't be that complicated, but
When you have that much, sometimes
you have
it
that
happens.
much, it's fairly complex on how you get it from coming into the door to out of the door in the truck back to the customer. So these ultra high frequency chips give us the ability that when if I'm picking up dirty uniforms at my customer, I put them into a big bin, and then throughout the day I put all the dirty uniforms in there, right? So when I get back to the plant, I roll the bin off the truck and I put it in what I'll call a portal. And it's kind of like when you go to the airport and you have to put your hands above your head and go whoosh, turn,
Yeah.
make sure there's nothing on you that should be on you, right? So we do the same thing. It goes into this portal, it takes a picture of everything in there, and it can tell us every garment that's in there. So there's 325 garments. They'll tell us, what company it's with, what the individual's name is, and then it knows it's checked in. So then it goes to the washing and drying process, and then at the end, when the shirts and the pants come together, it has to go through a scanner and scan out the same amount that got scanned in. So if he turned in 5 shirts and 5 pants, and we scan it out, it needs to say there's 5 shirts and 5 pants there, and if he's missing a garment, it's going to tell us, hey, you're missing a pair of pants for Bob Jones.
Yeah.
And then Bob Jones cannot get his full bundle back if you don't get that other pair of pants.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal in our industry because it's a 100% guarantee that you're going to get back what you turn in, and there's not a lot of other companies in our area that are doing this right now.
Instead of being like he said, she said, like, I
You got
dropped
it.
off 5, and she's like, and the
Right.
lady's like, no, you did 4. It's like, nope, it's scanned in 5. He's supposed to, and then
Right.
that stops that conversation
Because I mean,
she automatically is like, shoot, I'm missing one.
Right.
yeah, and people make mistakes. They think they
Oh,
turned
yeah.
in 5 shirts, 5 pants, but they forgot, there's one that was under the bed, or, actually my wife washed 3 pair of pants for me and I didn't know it and I thought I turned them all in. Well, at the end of the day, all we can do right now is trust the customer and try to, get them some pants. We can check things manually. But so this technology is going to be, pretty wonderful for us.
It's a bit better than having the tags in the back of the collar or wherever they are, which is what they were doing in the past. It has the employee name and the company and some numbers and everything that explains who it is, where it goes. And this kind of takes out that whole process of having to look individually piece by piece when you just have a machine that can just swoop and count hundreds of garments at a time and input the names and everything.
That's what I was just
So-
thinking, like the ones that have, like the factories and stuff that have hundreds of
Right.
garments, instead of
Right.
like you said, going through each one. I mean, that's
Right.
getting so you time to be able to get more things done. So
Right.
And
Yeah.
Convenient,
the
everything.
washing process doesn't damage the chips at all.
No, they don't, and that's a very good question. These chips have actually been around for a number of years, but the technology's got so much better and it's become more cost efficient to allow us to do this. But yeah, it's actually in a like a rubber material, where
Okay.
this material is waterproof, and as long as it doesn't come out of where it's sewed into the garment, it's not going to go anywhere. And it's kind of cool because
that's
yeah, you can get like if you got 50 employees, I can get as a customer I can get a report on who turns in their garments every week because it will tell me how many times one pair of pants has been washed, in that week or even the full year. So I can take this pair of pants and scan it and be like, yeah, this has been washed 22 times this year, and it's been repaired twice. So it has a history on the garment itself, which is
kind of fun too.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, shirts and pants, well, let's be honest, they're not that cool. I mean,
Right.
they're necessary, where we live at least.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not the most exciting, you know, field that there is washing shirts and pants. So this is about as exciting as it gets. But yeah, a lot of people, most people think this is cool technology. There are some people that are kind of
Like you're gonna follow me. No.
yeah, they think this is, you know, some sci-fi, you know, deal going on, X-Files, I don't know.
Tinfoil hat. You know.
So
Yeah.
you're not using the chips as a marketing scheme
No.
to filter more ads into their funds.
We can't, no,
I wish.
we are not doing
Yeah, maybe
marketing
we
through
should
this.
do that.
We can't track if, you know, someone said that they were, you know, going to work and they didn't go to work that day and, you know, their girlfriend thinks he's been at work all day. No.
Call Kimmel's be like, I need you to track
Yeah,
this
we
for me.
cannot track to see if your boyfriend was at work last week by the garments that he turned in.
But his shirts are clean.
Yeah.
That's all
So
we
we can
care
tell you
about.
if they've been cleaned or not.
Yeah,
but-
there's no GPS on this. There's some mails because the actual chip is sewn in the front of your shirt tail, so it's where you tuck it in,
Yeah.
the front of your pants. And some males are pretty concerned if you know they're trying to have kids.
It's gonna like the.
They're like,
Radiation.
so is that like hold my cell phone down there all day? Is that gonna give me bad, you know, radio waves or something? I'm like,
no, they're good.
no, you're good, man. I promise you, that's not from a chip if that's an issue. You know, it's definitely not. So there's some interesting concepts out there.
Thinking of something before we get into more awesome things that have happened. One thing I want to throw in there, just because we're getting ready for our bridal book and stuff. So Kimmel's also does wedding dress alterations, and I never said the word right when you put your dress in the box.
Preservation.
Yes.
Restoration, preservation, wedding dress.
You're all over it.
Yeah.
I just had mine set.
Just-
So you can do our marketing.
Yes. Yes. So that was one thing I was thinking
I
of
have
that
one too.
a lot of people don't know, because I see a lot on Facebook that people talked in. That is one thing that you guys do as well. So
Yeah,
that's like
I
a
think
whole other side
we're
of it.
one of the few companies in this part of Ohio that are part of the Wedding Gown Association that we have an accredited,
And Kathy does a lot of that, right?
Yes.
That's what I think.
accredited process to make sure everything's restored appropriately.
Yeah, so you can have your dress altered, and then you can have it,
Preserved.
Preserved, you name it.
yeah, cleaned. Because they
All
clean it,
the
preserve
above.
it, pack it. Look at that.
I know so much about wedding dresses.
I figured I was going to ask you.
You're asking
you
the
know.
right person, yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so has there been anything else? You said it's gotten broken into, but obviously that wasn't exciting. You never caught.
I never, yeah, we've had people that kind of run through our building sometimes thinking they're going to find something fun. I don't know.
Which I feel like that'd be more dangerous because I've only seen the machines once, and that's a lot of
Yeah,
happening.
there's a lot going on in there. There's nothing interesting to take, I'll tell you that. I mean, if you want a few bed sheets, just, you know.
Steal some shirt chips.
Yeah.
There's some shirt chips. I mean,
Test out some theories.
Yeah, like let's see.
yeah.
I think I
but,
find it.
Competitors want to come up with their own chips.
I hope not. But no, for the most part, I think it's pretty well locked down. I don't think we've had any issues lately as far as people breaking in. But
Yeah.
when they do, you can usually see the footprints on our white linen, so it's not hard to figure out who they are.
That's true. Yeah, so don't try to break in because
There
they
you
can
go.
trace your footsteps.
Yeah.
I always find it interesting, and I never remember her name, which is awful. The sweet lady up front. She's
Angie?
been there. Yes. I always tell Greg, I said she is like the mama bear because when we call and bless her heart, I never remember what size linen I need.
Mm-hmm.
And I always call the day before, and she'd be like, this is the size. Now, I told you not to call the day before. You have the same safety council every month. And I'm like, I know. And then she would call and she'd be like, you never drop off your linen. And I'm like, oh, I gave it to Greg. Then boys don't tell me anything. They didn't bring it down here. And I'm like, she's my favorite person to call because I mean, she runs like a tight ship down
Yes,
there.
she does.
And when you come in, like she knows where it needs to go, who you need to talk to. So
And she
like,
keeps us in line.
Yeah, she's
That was
like,
the
them
first
boys,
thing-
they don't tell me anything.
That was the first thing I was told when I got hired there. They're like, well, we have to take you to meet Angie because she tells us all what to do
Yeah.
and keeps us all where we need to be all the time. And I was like, well, that's good to know.
She knows it all. She's one of
Yep.
I feel like she's been there. I don't know how long she's been there, but
Angie's been there over 30 years, I believe. Don't quote me
She's
on
been
that.
doing
But
a
Angie's
lot of
been there
cycles.
even as far back as I remember.
yeah.
But that is something that's fairly unique anymore. I mean, like, we have someone who answers the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like today, you call anywhere, how often does someone actually
Yeah.
answer a
It's a
telephone?
directory.
Right.
Right.
Right. So that's something that, you know, we've always felt was important. Makes us a little different than other companies and service organizations that are out there. And we're lucky enough to have someone who knows kind of where to send the call rather than here's your 10 options.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, because we called about the bridal book, which is Kathy. And as soon as we gave her the information, she's like, okay, yep, I've dealt with the bridal expo. I can give her this information. But it was just so funny. Like I was almost like nervous to call her because I was like, it's like my mom, like she's gonna yell at me. I know she's gonna
She's gonna scold me.
I was like, it'd be like the Wednesday before, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get Lyndon, and I'd be like, hi. And she's like, what size? I'm like, the biggest, like rectangular ones. And she's like, how many? And I'm like, oh. And then I want to bring them
You
back.
sent me last time?
Yeah.
See, I think that's a good sign though.
Oh,
It's very commendable. Obviously, someone wants to work for you
Right.
for 30 years. That's the sign of a good business.
Yeah.
And I like that you guys are personable and you have someone right up there up front who's got a very motherly aura about her, and she takes care of your customers and she knows what's what. If you're ever listening to this, Angie, we love you.
Yes,
you
we
do a
do.
good job.
No, Angie is an essential asset to our
And she's
organization.
like one of those, like she cares, I mean, or she wouldn't be.
She does care.
It's one of those, like, she's aggressive about it in like a nice way. Like she's literally like a mother, like,
Oh.
I'm gonna tell you what you need to do, but I'm gonna love you, and we're gonna have this argument next week, and it's gonna be okay.
I'm gonna slap your hand now, but I still love you.
Yeah, it's like, listen. It's just like, oh no. But it's like people like that, and then you've got this, and it's the sweet lady that sews next, and it's just nice that, like she said, a lot of companies don't have the same faces.
Mhm.
So the fact that you can walk into that front door and it's the same face for 30 years, a lot of people can't say that anymore because turnover
Right.
is huge.
Right. No, and that's something that it's.
That's loyal.
It is, but even like Sarah, I mean, we're bringing as we continue to grow, because we've been lucky enough, like we've had some very strong growth where we need more people in different positions that we didn't have positions for in the past, and usually these people are a little bit younger than some of the tenured personnel. So it does create a lot of diversity within the organization, which is very good overall because it creates a certain dynamic and amount of respect within the organization for different positions, age groups, you name it. Because I think that's important. I mean, to work as a team is not always the easiest thing to do.
Especially, like you said, that age dynamics.
Right.
I can.
Right, but just having respect for each other and understanding how each other operates, and I think that's something that our employees do a very good job at.
And I think it was maybe last year on Facebook. I seen that you guys, like, I don't know if you just started it, if it's been there. It's like a wall recognition.
Yeah.
Where you have like the 10 years, and so you can see, can we recognize those people for their dedication to the company.
Yeah. Every 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and then I think after that, I don't remember, to be quite honest.
You're just forever now.
Yeah, like, so you get to move your name from one board to the other,
Yeah.
which is,
It's like a little ceremony.
yeah, it's pretty
Which
cool.
is nice. It's nice to be like, I know you've been here this long. Thanks for your dedication.
Correct,
So, yeah.
correct.
Cool. So have you had anything like major happen in Kimmel Corporation where like you guys walked in and you're like, oh, like did anything break and you guys couldn't service people for a whole day? Was there obviously the person who broke in?
No,
We want to know who this man is who broke in.
who broke
No.
in? I don't
If you're
know.
listening, please report yourself.
All right. I don't think we've been lucky. I mean, we've heard of other companies that do, what we do, that had washers go down and, they couldn't operate a whole washroom floor and they were trucking, all their laundry to another plant.
That's what I'm thinking of, like flooding. If you have one of those giant
Right,
washers, just
right.
like,
Right, no, it happens. It happens. And we've been lucky. We really haven't had much of that. And we haven't, like, fires are common in our industry
oh yeah.
because you have a lot of hot, material, fabric that sits in a dryer, and sometimes if it's not cooled properly, it can ignite.
Yeah.
So we've been lucky we haven't had any of that.
But that's the stuff that makes me nervous too. Is like if you're a company like that catches on fire, kind of like for Citizens situation,
Right.
you guys then have the water that goes off,
Right.
like the system.
Right.
So not only did you have a fire, but now you have all this
Now you have
water
flood.
damage,
Yeah.
Right.
and now most of your stuff is ruined. So it's stuff like that. Like like you said, thankfully you haven't had that because I mean that's.
No, that's a big deal because you have people that need their shirts back to work, and some of these companies, it's requirement. They're not allowed to work without their uniforms because that's whatever the material is that they work with.
Right, it could be flammable.
Yeah,
and
FR garments, you name it. So we do have it set up where if something were to happen, we have partners that would help us out, but that would not be an easy feat. We'll just send trucks to another plant and try to wash them, in the middle of the night when they're not running. And
That's what makes you nervous too, because like we're all kind of like I feel like the block is all connected by building.
it is.
And I'm like, if one of us goes out, they don't get stopped. We're all in flames. Especially something that big.
What are you trying to say?
I know.
I'm
She's
just
very
saying-
nervous.
Yeah, I'm very nervous.
Are you nervous that we're gonna destroy the block?
Yeah, because of Kimmel Corporation, if you guys catch on fire, might as well rebuild
So-
I
downtown.
think we need to talk about your deep-seated fears a little bit more.
Oh my god.
So this was actually a concern
Yeah.
when we built on because we literally put a building in between one building and another over an alley. Okay, so there was some separator. Now there's not to the rest of the downtown
To the block, the whole entire block.
So we did put certain safety measures in place regarding that wall to prevent anything that if something were to happen, prevent it going from another building.
Yeah.
Also for noise reasons, you name it. So
So you're prepared.
these were items that were brought
I
up
can see
as
it.
concerns, and so we
Taking care of them.
hopefully
not a
address
threat
them
to the community.
appropriately.
Not a threat to the community.
Yes, we always
It's
have.
like easy now.
It was one of those because I've seen the videos of places like that, and they get just sometimes engulfed in flames. And I'm always like, we've had people vandalize the buildings in between, and it's if they hit one, they hit another. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh Lord.
Oh, yeah, actually, we keep someone on staff that stays there overnight.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's like a little elf,
Oh yeah.
and he puts out fires and
So they-
scares robbers away. So
Well, I'm glad these gave it a
You can hire him part-time if you want.
Yeah, can we keep him here and like switch him out?
well, he'd rather say incognito,
Oh.
not even.
But now the future burglars know that they need to watch out for the Kimmel Corporation elf.
Yeah,
Yes.
call him an elf.
The elf.
Okay. For our lovely listeners, if they should require your services, what is the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Call Angie.
At what number?
And what number do we call Angie?
419-294-1959
All right. And where can they find you? Your physical location?
at Kimmel. The physical location
Yes.
225 North Sandusky Street in downtown Upper Sandusky.
Downtown Upper?
And right across the road's the apparel store at
Now-
214.
Different phone numbers, or can she just take?
Same phone number.
Okay.
Just call Angie, ask for Sarah.
She'll send you right over there.
Right.
Send you right my way.
Now, Sarah, what are your hours over there?
We are open from 10 to 6. Took me a second, sorry. 10 to 6, Tuesday through Friday. And we're open 9 to 1 on Saturdays.
And then what about the dry cleaning?
So the front office is open Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 4:30. That goes for all rental customers and dry cleaning customers that need to call in. And then we always have our emails available, info@kimmelcleaners.com, anything that needs to be addressed.
And you guys have like the drop off in the front too,
Correct.
for like linens and
Mm-hmm.
cleanings and stuff like that.
All right.
That's awesome.
Anything else you want to share before we sign off?
Appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having us on.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks for
having us
coming.
on.
All right. Bye.